these guys on the bar there for that D shape C. Now notice, so down here is actually the 2 is not really part of that triad, but when we're doing the D shape in guitar, we tend to kind of come in for a landing here. We don't really hit the very bottom string. So don't worry about it. It's not particularly a bad note, so it's a good position for other reasons. It's kind of like, sounds something like that, like a suspended. So we have 7-2-4-6 happens to be the opposite of root 3-5. So the root 3-5 in the Locrian box is just everything that 7-2-4-6 is not. That's why we can look for the parent shapes of D and C in the black here. So that's our parent shapes. Now we're going to take the second of that D shape as we go along in the pentatonic scale to the second. So the D shape pentatonically we would go to the E, because this pentatonic scale C, D, E, G, A. So we would go to the E shape, but it's going to be minor. So we have our E minor substitution here. So here's our E minor right here. Nobody's taking that E minor away from us. All we're going to do is add the 7th. So it's E minor shape. Key of C, it's going to be an E minor. And we add the 7th, which is the Locrian 7th. That's all we're doing. But I want to show you that, of course, that's easy, right? We're just going to be hitting these 3 notes. We have the option to hit this 4th, but we don't have to. We have the 2 down there. We have the 4 here. I want to show you that these 3 notes also we can play the 5-7. Now let's look at it in the D shape. What's the 5th of the D shape? The A shape. So we have an A shape 2-5-7. Let's just scoot up here for a second. Okay, 2-5-7 is the second inversion of 5-7-2, and here's the 4th, because we're going to need that dominant 7th that gives the mixolydian. It's the 5-7 shape. So we're going to have 2-5-7, but usually when you play that, you want to drop that 5 down to a 4, or play something like this. You can hit this 4 up here. Okay, by the way, that 4 should be white there. So we've got our mixolydian dominant 7th chord, like that, like that, like that. The change that we're going to make, so it's A shaped right there, 2-5-7, and there's your 4. It's going to be up there, it's going to be up here maybe. But 2 is part of that half diminished, because what we're doing here is we're looking at the half diminished 7th. The top 3 notes is 7, 2, 4 already. Then we're just going to add the 6th. But you won't see the 6th on the mixolydian cage. Okay, that's why I'm showing it. Okay, so we've got A to a G shape there. So we've also got the G shape there. Alright, so here we're going to not play the root of the mixolydian. So we do want to change it to the 7th right away. Okay, because we're not going to be playing that 5th. It's not part of, here's your half diminished 7th. That would be like, then it's just going to a 5-7. That sounds good, but it's not part of that half diminished 7th chord. So we're going to lose this. Whereas with the E minor substitution, we want to maintain the E minor. We're not going to go to an E minor 7th. Okay, we're not going to do that. We did that last. We do the 5-7 substitution. We're going to take the 5 usually to the 4th, but we can also take it to the 6th. We just don't want to play the 5. It's going to go over here to the 6, over here to the 4. Okay, so we pretty much have the same chord shape we're going to end up with, because this 5 down here on the bar can't go to a 4. Okay, so we have to take it to the 6th or the 7th. So see how we end up with the exact same chord in two different ways. Okay, we can do the minor second plus the 7th. So here's the minor second plus the 7th, or we can do the dominant 5th, the dominant meaning the 7th chord, and we can add the 6th. So we get to the same chord there, or we can do it like this. We can go, but you simply want to do these 3 notes. Same chord, 2 different ways. We can do one more half diminished. So let's look at the A G box. Okay, now notice for half diminished we can go minus A minus G. So here's A 5 root 3, and we can just take each of those scale members down 1 scale member. So 3 goes to 2, root goes to 7, and 5 goes to 4 right there. Okay, and then we have this 6 here we can add, because remember 5 is not part of root 3 5 is the analog of 7 2 4 6. So we're not going to be playing root 3 or 5. So the 5 is going to go up to 6 here. So we've got 4 7 2 6 right here that we can do, that kind of looks like a diminished chord a little bit. So this is the box that we're in right now, is the A box. So I'm going to move the capo on up here, but you can do it anywhere. You can do the A box anywhere you want. It's just that this lowest playable note is going to become the 5th of the root key wherever you're at. So if you're using down here where you are, where your regular tuning is, this 5th, this E becomes the 5th of the A. So the cage there would be the A box, and then going to the G shape there where we'd have to bar this here. We don't want to do that. But we can use those G shapes when we're doing double shapes here. So I can do it there too, but I prefer to do it for the lesson in the key of C. So I'm just going to make this 5 the G. So the second minor substitution is going to be the C minor shape. Okay, remember we came up with this here, the 7. We're going to be playing with just the 7 and the 6, because the 2 and the 4 come on the bar there. That's the raw, and then down here we got the 6 and the 2. Do it like that. You can anchor down here, and you can just get, that sounds kind of off, but that's what it is. 6 2 4 7 be like that. Let's look at the 2 ways to arrive at that. Or we might want to move up to the A substitution. So with the A minor substitution there, we'd want to go to the G box instead of the A box. So we're just going to move the capo up here. Now watch this. We're going to make this the lowest playable note. All right, this is the G E box here, the long box. Okay, starts on A here. This is the A note, because I want to keep it in the key of C. A note is the A is the sixth of C. So we can go up there, 6, 7, root 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, root 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, root 2. Okay, takes us right into that G box there. Or we can do the cutout, which is root 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, root. Now the notes that we're just going to be playing, we're going to be 6, 2, 4, 7 there. Okay, we want that 7, we want the 4, we want the 6 and the 2. And these are it's kind of different.